Good. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the, is it May 8th? No, May 8th. Sorry, I'm not up to date here. May 8th, 2017 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. If everyone could please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. We've got a big crowd this morning. It's great to see. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is Gary Merrill, Vice President. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis, our County Administrator for Arizona Med. And Jen Walraven is our clerk today, so we can go ahead and start.
Resolution number 17-466, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings for a regular meeting held May 4th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-466. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do not have any public comment or elected official comment today, so that brings us to item number 4, and I believe Aaron Jennings is going to introduce our guests.
Good morning, Commissioners. Aaron Jennings, Assistant Chief, EMS. We're very fortunate and excited to bring a new piece of equipment to you to introduce and give you a backstory on how we actually received this donation from one of the partners in the community. It's actually hand and microsurgery practice down on Gemini Place. So before we go any further, I'd like to introduce Dr. Cook from the practice and all of his colleagues here. If you guys want to come up, and he'll just give you a real quick backstory on how we actually, it's kind of a unique story, how we came to partner with them, and then we'll actually demonstrate the device for you and tell you some more about it. So, Dr. Cook.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As usual, I get nominated for these things, so I'm unprepared. But our practice has been around for 30 years. Dr. Jim Nappy and Dr. Laura Lubber started the practice 30 years ago. Dr. Gada joined us a few years ago, and then we have two other surgeons, Dr. Ray Coas and Dr. Laura Lubber. Some of you have heard these names, been in the community for a long time. I had a recent paramedic that works in Delaware County injured his fingers in a table saw, and we kind of had a natural synergy. And Dana, our practice administrator, and I had been thinking about, well, what can we give back to the community since we had our 30-year anniversary? And this young paramedic said to me, hey, listen, I got a great idea for you. And here we are. So he just happened to talk to the right guy who had the right pin on the right check at the right day. And so we're very happy and honored to be here to deliver this product to the community. It sounds like it'll be a great need and help the paramedics tremendously, and we have a great relationship with the paramedics and EMS people around the state of Ohio. So congratulations, and hope it helps.
Good. Pleasure.
So we'll just briefly hit on the device because actually it's kind of unique that they donated this device. They basically took our word for it, and when they had the conversation with one of our paramedics, like they said, it just happened to happen, and they just basically said, what do you guys need? And this paramedic knew one of our needs, and they basically wrote a check. So I can't thank them enough for, they have not even seen the device until this morning. So we basically, when we found out about this, we put them in touch with Brandy Van Bergendien from Zoll. We've worked with her for many years, and they made it happen. And all the equipment we need showed up here in our offices. So I briefly want to talk about this this device, and then we will actually demonstrate it for you and answer any questions you may have. This is a CPR device. They donated 2 of these devices. The great thing about these is, first of all, is as you're aware, CPR for cardiac arrest victims, CPR is the most important thing that we can provide to these patients, because obviously that's going to keep blood circulating to the heart and brain. During cardiac arrest, obviously there's a standstill, there's no flow of blood, and without oxygen, that tissue starts to die. And unfortunately, your brain and heart tissue does not regenerate, such as your skin. So when we lose that tissue, it's gone. So that's why CPR, and you're aware, you've heard all of the public safety announcements and things through the American Heart Association. So even with all of the great tools that we have, one of the things that can be difficult at times is us providing good CPR. And the reason for that is because, first of all, we have humans who are doing it, so we get tired. We're moving the patient. Usually, unfortunately, the patient is not where we would like them to be. They're not on their front porch waiting for us. They're in their home, so we have to maneuver them. We have to be providing medications as well as providing shocks for the patient. So what the great thing that this does for us is this will provide steady, the same compressions all the way through. We don't have to worry about a human being getting tired or things like that, and it will just provide steady compressions for us while we're doing all of those other things. The other great thing about this is during our transport, we don't have to worry about necessarily trying to be seat belted and provide good compressions. And we may have a 30-minute transport time depending on where we are in the county. So I want to real quickly demonstrate this for you and then answer any questions you may have. So Brandy, I'm actually going to have you come up. And this is a great device. Basically, this right here is throwaway. It just hooks in. So basically, this comes in a backpack. It's ready to go. And Brandy, I'm going to let you go ahead and demonstrate for us since you're the rep. Yeah, go ahead. Introduce yourself. Just official.
Brandy Van Bergen, name was Zoll Medical.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So just a quick demonstration in an EMS setting would be, the patient would be down, the medics would start doing manual compression. So your patient would be down here, they even have a head and arms and legs. They would be doing manual compressions. When it is time to deploy, they would sit the patient up. They will slide the board in behind the patient, meeting this tailbone, and they will lay the patient back. They will take this light band, and they'll put piece number 1, piece number 2, and they will just take continue. Deployment should take under 15 seconds from the time they stop CPR to delivering high quality CPR.
Wow. Hey.
This device will move 4 times the amount of blood that these guys can move. Not only will it move 4 times, like Chief Jennings mentioned, during extrication, these guys struggle to do high-quality CPR. When they carry the patient from their bedroom, down the hallway, down the stairs, out the front door, into the back of the squad, this device will continue to run, and they can carry that vessel back to the angle, the patient can be at a 90-degree angle, and they can continue to compress. Not only is the patient getting the best care, but like Chief Jennings mentioned, your medics are now seated and safe in the back of the squad. So this clinic has provided not only better CPR for that patient, but now there's a safety mechanism built in for all of your medics throughout the county.
Oh my God.
I have a question. It's probably a really, really stupid question.
Oh, no,
because I'm not
sorry.
if the heart resumes beating, does this continue or does it stop or what?
If what? I'm just
If the heart resumes beating on the patient, what happens?
it is up to the medics to recognize that the heart is beating.
So is there some alert system that lets them know that it's...
So at the same time that this is working, they've also got defibrillation pads on the patient. And so they're able to see the patient's ECG on the screen. Every 2 minutes they pause to see what's going on with that patient. So when they pause this and look at that ECG, they're able to see if their pulse is back, if the patient's breathing, then they would stop. But it would not automatically recognize. Any other questions?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is the pressure the same regardless of the age of the patient or the size of the
So
patient?
that's a great question. So there's a load sensor here. What the device is doing is it takes the entire thoracic cavity and does a 20% decompression. 20% on me versus you versus you versus you is all different. So it customizes that compression based on the patient's needs.
That seems like a pretty strong compression.
That's an interesting fact. So when someone does manual compressions, they put 40 pounds of pressure on the sternum and they break ribs and crack sternums.
Okay.
You take that 40 pounds of pressure
And spread it around.
distribute it over 100 square inches. The human chest should have over 6.5 pounds per square inch of pressure. We're only delivering 2.5.
Okay.
When the medics in Delaware County do manual, they do 15.5. That's why they break ribs and crack sternums.
Yeah.
So we're actually doing less damage to the patient.
Okay.
Even when
That's
they
interesting.
provide it.
How long has this device been on the marketplace?
It hit the marketplace about 15 years ago.
Oh,
So at
really?
the bottom 12 years ago. In the surrounding area, Delaware City and Orange Township have been running with them for quite some time. But to get it on a county-wide system to support everyone, especially as Chief Jennings mentioned, with the long commute times, the medics just physically can't maintain high-quality CPR.
Yeah. Hey, Chief Jennings, how many CPRs do we perform a year?
Oh, boy. I did not look. I would say, Chief Burgess, we run stats all the time.
Last year, Mike Schuling, Chief, Delaware County MS, sorry. Last year, we had 42 cardiac arrests in the county.
Okay.
And that's in our department alone. Countywide, there's obviously more than that, but within Delaware County MS alone, we had 42. Last year was a very low number for us, so I don't want to say that those are the statistics, but those are what I can give you this morning. Obviously, with our size, that's been the problem, is we just can't go out and buy 10 of these all at once. So through attrition, we're hoping to get one of these on each ambulance. That would be the ideal situation.
The other thing I think it's important to point out is that CPR is so important. The American Heart Association says that roughly every minute that goes by that a patient isn't receiving quality CPR, their chances of survival drop 10%. Every minute. So you can see from the time somebody is realized that they are in cardiac arrest, they call 911, we respond. It's very important that we provide the best quality CPR possible. And so these 2 units right now are going to go on our captain's vehicles on the east side and west side of the county because they respond to all of our cardiac arrest. The one good thing, too, is that it will work out perfectly. Now, as Chief Schuling said, we're trying to get one of these on each vehicle, but they will be able to provide compressions, our crews, and then once this gets here, we'll be able to continue those compressions. And usually the captains are there within 4 to 5 minutes usually. So this is just really, I want to, again, just give a shout out to the Hand and Microsurgery. This is kind of a unique relationship here that one of our paramedics happened to be there, but we were so fortunate they understood the importance of giving back to the community. And they just did this. There really wasn't any. They just said, "Oh, great, we'd love to partner with you." They wrote a check, and it was a really great partnership that we had there. So, any other questions about the device or anything like that?
Is it called LifeBand?
No, it's called the Zoll Auto Pulse. So the LifeBand is actually this band.
Oh, that's
that
just
goes
the band.
across it. Yeah, so it's the Auto Pulse is what it's
okay.
called.
All right, yeah.
So, and hopefully in the future, back to Commissioner Merrill's question, we will be able to, we're working on actually implementing monitors that will know that this is on, and we'll be able to see that CPR feedback through this, because the monitor that we're looking at will realize this is on because of the compression rate that this is constantly doing. The machine will see that and say, okay, there's an auto pulse on, and it will all work seamlessly. So, kind of to answer your question, Commissioner Merrill.
Is it battery operated?
Yes.
You know, in the vehicle, are you able to plug it into the vehicle, or is it still battery operated? Or?
So what we will actually have is we have a charger, a bank charger that will be at the station, and what they will do is every day they will swap out and rotate batteries to make sure we don't build up a memory on the batteries, and we will carry 2 batteries with the device. And how long can one battery last roughly?
Approximately 30 minutes, give or take. Smaller patients, a little longer runtime, larger patients.
And it's a matter of seconds, basically, to pull the battery out, plug the other battery back in, and hit start. So that's minimal. And usually within 30 minutes, we're usually there. I've used them before, and I've never had a battery it just stops. And it's great at giving you alarms as well. So you know that that's coming where we're going to have to switch out a battery. So, any other questions?
No, I'd just like to thank the doctors for your generosity, and this is really going to save lives.
Absolutely.
This is wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great device, very impressive machine. So.
Yes.
Yeah, and I would also like to thank the Hand and Microsurgery Associates for this very generous donation. And again, it's going to save lives.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's a great way to describe it. So thank you very much. How long have you been on Gemini Parkway now?
5 years.
5 years?
5
Okay.
years, okay.
Yeah, it's great to have you there. I saw that building go up, so it's good to see that.
Good
Glad
to
have
know.
you down there. Okay. Thank you. Again, thank you all so much.
Thank
This is
you.
just great. Jane, where's Jane? Do we want a picture?
Do we get a photo? I think that's a great idea.
We can do a resolution after the photo. It doesn't matter.
We'll do the photo first, and then we'll do the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, let me do this.
Yeah, that I know.
You guys go ahead.
Okay, over here first. Over here. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. Oh, yeah, easy. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We banned him from any conferences and all.
Thank you so much for demonstrating. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
All right, we have more.
We have a dog.
We have a live prop this time.
Yeah, right, yeah. Should we move the
Yeah, let's
dog part up?
do the resolution.
Oh, the resolution and then...
Resolution number 17-467, in the matter of approving a resolution for Delaware County to accept donated Zoll Auto Post Recitation Automatic CPR devices.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I just have a comment. I think, I don't know if it's possible, but if somehow these two donated, we could have some sort of label or something that says donated by, so that I think that'd be very appropriate.
Sure,
And if
sure,
I
sure,
would have that
really.
treated, I mean, that'd be important to know that it's provided by.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Gosh, that's neat.
yeah,
Gee.
very cool. All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-467. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-468, in the matter of approving purchase orders and announced certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0505.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-468. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to Christine Hodge, the Superintendent of Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Good morning, Commissioners, Farzan and Jennifer. Christine Hodge, Superintendent, Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I have with me today Peggy Kroon-Van Diest, who's our Early Intervention Director at the County Board. We are here today to talk with you about a model of service delivery for early intervention babies and their families that our board has actually adopted and passed a resolution in April. And so with that becomes a little bit of a transition of service and how we actually provide services to children and families. So with that, I'm going to let Peggy step up and give you a brief explanation. And thank you for allowing us to be here today.
Okay, so early intervention provided by the Board of Developmental Disabilities has always been great services for Delaware County. So the first question is, why would we change the way we provide services? And early intervention across the nation and Ohio has changed over the years, and the focus is not on therapy to children, but rather on helping our parents to be empowered and work with their children. So an example of that might be a physical therapist in the past would come into the home, bring a balance beam, practice walking on a balance beam with the child, pack the balance beam up, and leave. So in this approach, what we might do is look at what's in the natural environment. And it might be pillows off the couch, and you might put them on the floor and have the parent and the child play a game where the child's walking on the pillows, keeping their balance. And that's something those parents can practice over and over and over again, 24/7 if they want, but through the week. So the child is learning those skills instead of a therapist coming in once a week and teaching those skills. So the other thing that we're doing is that every family gets what's called a core team. So when the child comes into the program, they get a service coordinator, and then they have a team of professionals that are working behind the scenes. Physical therapist, occupational therapist, speech therapist, and a developmental specialist. And then we choose one provider that's the primary person working on the biggest need of the child, going into the home and coming back to the team weekly, and they can talk about what's going on, change their strategies and services to meet the needs of the family. The other thing that we're doing is working on everyday routines of the family, so they don't stop what they do and do therapy. They incorporate those skills and strategies right into everyday life. So those are the big bonuses of doing the program this way. We also want parents to be empowered so they feel like they know what they're doing with their child, and they can continue to provide those services as the children grow. The other reasons that we're doing this is that not all families have choice of provider in Delaware County through our traditional system today. So as children come in, families can choose from 70 different providers, but not all the providers will go to all parts of the county. With this approach, as soon as kids come into the program, they get assigned a core team, and we can actually start services within 2 weeks, maybe up to 30 days. In our traditional program, some children might wait 4 months until we can find a provider to go to Radnor, Ashley, far side of Galena on the other side of the lake. All families will have access to direct therapy from therapists based on their needs. So it's not a cookie-cutter approach where every family gets the same kind of services. The visits to the family vary. So some families might say, I need a lot of services right now so I can get the idea of what I'm working on. Other families might say, I don't want services that much. So we might do what's called a burst. We go out, we work with the families and the children, we show them the skills and techniques, and then we disappear for 2-3 weeks while the family practices. Then we come back and we check in, make sure families are getting what they need. The other thing is every family has a plan, and the plan right now we review every 6 months and annually. Through this program, they review it every 3 months, sometimes more than that. So if the therapists are struggling on what's going on, they can bring it back to the core team and get new ideas and strategies. And then the Board of Developmental Disabilities has approved extra funding, so there's money available for families to do other things besides what they're getting in their home. And these might be community classes, where we get children with developmental disabilities in classes with typically developing children, so they learn from their peers. They might get massage therapy for children, particularly our drug-addicted babies, who need that extra massage to help them with some of the side effects of being drug-addicted at birth. So how are we going to implement it? Because you might hear families saying, what's going to happen to my current services? So any family that's currently receiving services, if their child is 2.5 to 3, starting September 1st, they would see no change. Other families that have younger children, we're giving them the option. They can switch to a core team approach, or they can continue to get therapies in the traditional model. And then all new families, September 1st, will come in and be given a core team. So we're really going to run 2 programs at the same time until we age out the children initially in the program. And then if families want more information, we are directing them to the Ohio Early Intervention website, and there's a video there that you can look at, and it actually shows you in a really 5-minute segment of what this actually looks like. And that's it. Is it 5 minutes? Any questions?
Does this program encompass all of Help Me Grow? Okay, so this is, is this the same? I know it's not, it's got different components than Help Me Grow had, but...
Well, Help Me Grow was a title that was given by the Ohio Department of Health, and it included 3 components. It included early intervention, central intake, and then home visiting for children at risk for developmental delays. They changed the name of the program, so we're still the early intervention component of Help Me Grow.
Okay.
But now we're called early intervention. Okay. And Help Me Grow is the home visiting portion. Okay. And then our central intake is going to be called Bold Beginning.
Okay.
So they're switching all the names. The services are still out there. It's a little confusing to families because everybody knows early intervention has helped me grow.
Sure.
Let me just help with that, too.
Sure.
So in Delaware County, up until about 2 years ago, Help Me Grow was not under the DCBDD. It was under the Department of Health. So what we did was we brought them into the county board. We received that called Part C funding. And so it's federal funds to run the program. So now, at the county board, we have encompassed one whole department instead of two separate ones. So we have the service coordinators and we have the developmental specialists. And then we contract with other providers to help provide the services in the home. So you won't hear us talking much anymore about the words Help Me Grow, except for as it relates to home visiting, which the Department of Health oversees, and they look at home visiting into the home that is separate from what we do.
Now, at one time, Help Me Grow was transitioning to JFS, right? For
a very brief moment.
So now it's...
Sanity return.
Help Me Grow is in a lot of different places over time, and Peggy's been with them for how long?
Since 2000.
So it's been quite a journey.
A lot, yeah.
But we really feel like it's a great partnership at the county board because we serve people with disabilities, all through the entire lifespan, and having Help Me Grow with us just really complements what we do, especially with that birth to 3. Now it is a seamless process. It's not, well, you have to call here and you have to call there. You call us.
In the age group that can choose 2.5 and under, I think you said, what do you think the percentages are going to be? People tend to stick with status quo because they know the status quo. Do you think how do you think it's going to fall out?
Well, we did a pilot project, and we wanted to have 60 families participate, 30 brand new coming in through our central intake, and then 30 families to switch. We could only get 20 to switch, and that's because they were happy. It's what they know, and that's part of the transition of this is parents know what they know, and they know how they've always gotten services. So to switch to a different approach can be pretty frightening for families. So we're going to allow families that are used to getting services right now traditionally to stay in the program, and then new families coming in will get the core team.
I'm going to make a guess that the vendors who provide the services have some interest in the old system, so they also have to adjust.
Right. Right now, there's about 70 providers who could provide services. Through the core team, we choose the providers. And so what we do is we super train them. They know how to work in a group process. And it's really about sharing ideas and strategies. So we're going to be reducing how many providers are available to that birth to 3 population. But once a child turns 3, they will still have choice of provider on up and through adulthood.
The core group, there's, I don't know, half a dozen professionals or professional services involved in this. How do you coordinate that? I mean, that, to me, sounds like that would be difficult to
Well, we will
accomplish.
be choosing, so we'll be doing a request for provider proposal. So we will get applicants. When we did the pilot project, we had 17 providers apply, and we chose 4. So it was difficult. You have to come up with who's the best. And it's a group process.
I guess I meant not selecting the providers, but when you're working with a family,
Correct.
how do you coordinate 5 or 6 professionals to work with that family?
We coordinate through a primary service provider, so we choose one professional that works on the biggest need, and then as they need other professionals, they come in together. So they do what they call joint visits. And this is very different than how we do it now. You could have a physical therapist, speech therapist, occupational therapist coming in 3 different times during the week, which parents tend to feel a little overwhelmed. They forget which therapist is telling them to do what. So through this core team with the primary service provider, you have one professional coordinating all of that,
Okay.
and then bringing in those therapists as we need them.
I think the missing link is that the core teams meet weekly.
Okay.
So they know that as part of when they answer the RFP that they want to be involved in this, then they're selected and they're super trained, as Peggy said. But for our current core team, they meet every single Wednesday. So that's when they're together to discuss whatever situation's going on, the parents can be present, so, you do it individually, of course, but because you have that, and they know coming in, hey, so Wednesday is our core team meeting day, and that's when we talk about any of the children on this core team that needs services, whether it's somebody new coming into the program or someone who's already established, maybe a new need came up. This core team of professionals knows all of these children on this team. So that's how we coordinate it. So right there, because you're seeing each other every single week and you've got that piece together, you know them and you build that. And actually, it's become a lot easier than we ever anticipated because everybody's very aware of that. And so when there's a need for an extra meeting, or if it's an occupational therapist who's the primary service provider, and now there's a physical therapy need, they can get right there and schedule on their calendars with the family when's the best time. So it hasn't really been the coordinating nightmare that we were kind of nervous about.
Right.
Has this approach been tried in other counties, other states, and how has that gone?
Over 10 years, it's been tried. It's nationally accepted in 30 states, and in Ohio itself, there's only 12 counties that have not moved to this approach.
Oh, okay.
So we're kind of one of the last to hop on board, and we weren't too sure about it ourselves, and that's one of the reasons we did a pilot. We wanted to be believers, and after 8 months of the pilot, we're like, hands down, we need to move to this.
And prior to that, we went and visited many other counties across the state to see how it was actually being implemented. And so what we took from it is what we thought would be the best, and then how do we really add our own Delaware County flavor to it. So we really, really went out, and Peggy and her team did a fantastic job. We brought parents, we brought anybody who wanted to come to see what this would look like. And then when it came down to how do we want to operate it here in Delaware, we made sure we were meeting the core principles and what was necessary by statute. And then we built in pieces that other counties don't have that's very beneficial. We have a parent representative at every single core meeting whose sole purpose is to make sure we maintain that family perspective with every single child. So if the parent can't be there, or they can't call in, or they can't send a video or email, that parent liaison that we have is essential to making sure that team always focuses on the family and that child. And that's something other counties didn't have.
I have to ask, what's the cost differential of a program like this versus the previous approach?
Well, we did a projected budget for our core pilot, and we're about $44,000 below what we projected we would be spending. We think it's probably going to be cost neutral, but in the end, our parents are feeling more confident that they can meet the needs of their children, so they meet their outcomes quicker and they exit the program at a faster rate. So even if we don't save a penny, we think we've really enhanced services for families.
These 20 families that are participating, I assume that they will spread the word with other families that this really is a better way to go?
Correct.
Right, we actually did have one new family who's on the primary service provider model who came into our board meeting and was very passionate about how it helped her son. And so I think that, once it's out there a little more, people start to understand this is really to enhance the lives of the families and the children and to help them along. And when I first came back to you, probably about 2 years ago, and I was talking about our budget and our program services, one of the things I always come back to is at 3 years old, 50% of the children exit from our program, age appropriate, 50%. At 6 years old, we have the same phenomena. At 6 years old, 50% exit. So what we're really hoping with this program is we're helping families and children meet those goals sooner and helping them feel really good and confident about what they're doing. And remember, if they're in the core team and they still need extra help, we can still provide that. So they're not completely just set here. If they're having a core team, they need something more, we're able to do that as well. But what we found with the pilot is that hasn't really happened. They really haven't reached out to more because they're getting their needs met.
It does sound like a win-win for the win for the families, DD, and the children in the program.
We believe
Just
in
a
it.
better approach.
One of the things when we traveled to other counties, we asked what their journey was like. And they said when they made the transition, it was really stressful. And people cried and staff quit. And we said, if you had to do it all over, would you do it again? And it was unanimous. And this was Cuyahoga, Hamilton. All the bigger counties said, yeah, we would do it again because it's a better way to serve families and children.
Do you have a breakdown on the types of children's needs that
that you're addressing through the early intervention services?
We do. I don't have those figures with me, but we could certainly provide that for you.
That would be great. Okay, thank you. And make sure that Tony receives your excellent summary that you gave us. Oh, you have, all right.
Tony's our best friend.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
And good luck.
Yes.
No vote there.
No, that was just presentation.
One.
Item number 7, resolution number 17-469, in the matter of accepting a grant from the Ohio Pet Fund for the Delaware County Dog Shelter.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Brian Gallagher, Delaware County Safety and Security Director. Brought a friend in here. Come on over. This is kind of a success story based off of the grant. So the grants that we get in, we go through helping rehabilitate dogs such as this. And this dog is kind of special. I'll let Dan talk. Dan is assistant warden with Delaware County.
Well, yeah, this is Lucy. We picked her up about 3 months ago. She came in with pyromitra, which is a urinary infection. She had whipworm super bad, a false pregnancy, and some intestinal infections as well. So it took a few weeks to get her actually healed back up, but now she has caught 3 dogs since we've gotten her. She has a little demonstration of where if you're being attacked by a dog, how to give yourself some more time, maybe even not get bit at all. So that's kind of interesting. We show to the kids. We have a kids safety scene here coming up in a few weeks at the fairgrounds. Adults as well, because they get bit quite a bit. Also joggers, bicyclers. She loves everybody, everything, dogs, cats, chickens, ducks. Nothing seems to bother her. So if she comes around, she probably just wants a treat. But she's been really good, and the money that we've gotten, it's helped her as well as a few other dogs that we've gotten.
We're not listening to you, we're listening to you.
Yeah. Listen, I'm used to that because everywhere I go, everybody says, "Oh, Lucy." They don't even know my name, which is okay.
The one thing that maybe you missed is Dan had mentioned that the dogs caught 3. It's caught 3 dogs. So whenever Dan and the guys go out and they're having a hard time catching a dog, they'll let Lucy out, and where they won't come to a human, they're like, "Oh, a dog, great," and they'll go hang out with Lucy, and then Lucy will come for the car, then they can get the dog and put him in and try and find the owner.
Good. She came back for a picture.
So we thought it'd be good to bring Lucy in and.
So Lucy needs to be adopted, is that it, or?
Well, we've adopted her at the shelter.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a greeter.
Sure.
More of a working dog.
All the dogs that come in are stressed out or anxiety, depression. When they see her, it just gives them a little more light of like, okay, she's doing all right. Nothing's bad happening to her, so they kind of lighten up a little bit.
Oh,
Even
sure.
Aggressive dogs kind of take a step back because for some reason she doesn't care whether you're aggressive or whether you're scared, to the point where she probably shouldn't go address these aggressive dogs, but she doesn't. She's like, "Hey, how you doing? Why are you so mad? I don't know." But yeah, she kind of even calms them down, which is a blessing out there as well. So she's worked out really well.
So you're saying Lucy's a county employee?
Yes.
That's what Mindy's here. Make sure we do the right paperwork.
Yes, yeah,
The gist of it, yeah.
yes. I think
First retreats, which is pretty affordable.
I think she should get a raise for that.
That's good.
Oh, my God.
So that we thought it'd be a good idea to bring Lucy out here. And then as far as the grant, this grant was already,
Gee.
I brought it before you a couple months ago to approve, getting the grant, and then we were approved for $2,000. So what we're going through now is the process just to accept the award.
Oh, she
All right.
stole the show.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody
I
questions?
apologize, I think I called Lucy, I call her Lucy instead of Susie, right? Is it Susie or Lucy?
Lucy.
Lucy, it was Lucy, I got it right then.
All right, we'll have a vote.
Vote on motion 17-469, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 17-470, in the matter of authorizing the use of a procurement card for the dog shelter.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
All right, this is basically for the P card. We just hired another person out at the dog shelter, and whenever they're on duty, they need to have the ability to, if there was a dog that's hurt, to go in emergency care for a vet. And with the, auditor's office, with them wanting us to transfer from, more of a PO system to more P cards, we need to have a P card for the newest hire out the shelter.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-470, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Thank you.
It's been a different morning so far.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, here she comes. Oh, my gosh, she minds you. Bye, Lucy.
Thank you. How fun.
Man's best friend.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Resolution number 17-471, in the matter of approving a request for proposals for a Delaware County, Ohio State Route 3637 corridor study.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Bob Lamb, Economic Development Director for the county. I do want to just start by saying I don't appreciate the fact that I had to follow on a dog.
I know, I was
so-
just going to say, yeah.
No, thank you very much for hearing this today. This is a request for us to release an RFP to begin looking at engaging a land use planning firm to conduct a study of 3637, really from the east side of the city of Delaware to the west side of the city of Sunbury, so that we can determine what policies or procedures we should undertake to better position that corridor for commercial development over the next 10 to 20 years.
Who do you expect to bid on this, or to offer proposals on?
My expectation is that local planning firms will most likely be the ones who engage us in this RFP process.
Okay, what kind of timeline do you think?
I believe our hope is to close by the end of the month or early in June with this, bring forward a proposal to you, hopefully sometime in June, to enter into a contract to conduct 3 to 4 months' worth of work, engaging the various stakeholders within the area, the local jurisdictions, residents, property owners, and businesses, formulate a plan and have something in place, hopefully by mid-fall, that we can then showcase to the community and help guide efforts in 2018.
The ultimate goal being to have at least some site or job-ready sites in that corridor?
Yes, we see this as a key component of our site selection preparedness group as well. This will help lay some needed groundwork and provide some policy overall clarification that group needs to better understand what it is that both the county and local jurisdictions want in these key commercial corridors.
So you'll get the townships, Berlin, Berkshire, you'll get Delco, sanitary engineer, and others.
Yes, as part of this process, we want to engage the key stakeholders, ODOT, the utility providers, local jurisdictions, as well as property owners and other players within the area, so that we know that we're taking this as a holistic approach. We want to make sure that it's not just a land use plan that's being put in place, but a plan that corresponds with what others such as ODOT want to see happen in the area, so that we're aligning our efforts and that we also understand the limitations that exist for how development can occur within the area.
You see this being a complementary step with the county engineer exception, so we don't have repeat of 23 and 36, 37?
Yes, our hope is that this will lay the groundwork to be able to see the area develop in a manner that will mitigate traffic impacts while still at the same time being able to serve as an economic generator for the county.
That's a good comparison. 23 corridors, rough in spots. So.
Good idea to be proactive, so certainly support the study.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-471, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Resolution number 17-472, in the matter of declaring a public purpose and authorizing the use of Delaware County funds for the purchase of coffee, meals, and refreshments and other amenities.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm David Dombrowski with Job and Family Services. May is Foster Parent Appreciation Month, and as you guys know, foster parents are a true asset to us in Children's Services when we have to remove children from the home. So this, the money that we're asking for here is to provide a banquet for our foster parents to show our appreciation for what they do for us all year long. So, to answer any questions.
God bless them.
Yeah, yeah.
I have gone to this in the past, I'm sorry. I've gone to this in the past, and it, I think as Will said, who to say God bless. These people obviously are very dedicated, and they make a big difference in our county, and taking one time a year to applaud those efforts, I think is very important.
Yeah, very important, folks.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-472, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Resolution number 17-473, in the matter of approving a ditch maintenance petition and the ditch maintenance assessments for Clockshaw Moors.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. This is our standard drainage maintenance petition to place portions of the drainage system for this development on the county system. This is a Rockford Homes development including 232 lots. It's a part of a much larger subdivision, or development, I should say, north of Hyatt's Road, west of Sawmill Parkway. And so this is the first of the drainage petitions for this area. There will be several more to follow with the rest of the development, and we are recommending approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-473, Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Resolution number 17-474, in the matter of approving the plats of subdivision for Clockshaw Moors, Section 2, and Liberty Trace, Section 3, Phase A.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Two subdivision plats that have been approved by all the required county agencies, the 51-lot Clarkshaw Moors I just discussed, and the Liberty Trace Section 3, Phase A, which is a Pulte Homes development, including 17 lots. And we recommend approval.
Vote.
Vote on motion 17-474, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 17-475, in the matter of approving a contract of sale and purchase between 7137 Perry Road LLC and the Board of Delaware County Commissioners for Dell CR 1246.45.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We have negotiated a purchase of right-of-way for our home road improvements at State Route 315. I believe this was discussed with you last week. The owner did sign at the appraised amount, and we recommend approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-475. Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 17-476, in the matter of approving a drainage easement vacation for the Heathers at Goff Village, Section 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is a subdivision off of Sawmill Parkway that Pulte Homes is building. There are 3 lots within that subdivision that have a drainage easement over top of those portions of the lots. In order to fit the home footprint on those lots, the developers asked that a portion of the drainage easement on those 3 lots be vacated. This is really the fringe area of the easement. Doesn't really have an effect on the hydraulic capacity or flow of water across those lots. So we are recommending approval of this drainage easement vacation.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-476, Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Resolution number 17-477, in the matter of accepting improvements within the projects known as Liberty Road widening and Home Road traffic signal, Africa Road widening, Brookview Manor Section 1, and North Farms Section 6 and 11, Shanahan Road widening, and releasing construction securities.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
There were 3 public road improvements done in conjunction with developments last year. One on Liberty Road at Home Road, one on Africa Road and on Shanahan Road. All that work has been completed. Our construction staff has done the final inspection, and all the work is acceptable, and so we are recommending that you release the construction sureties and accept those improvements.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-477. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-478, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We received 5 permit applications this round. Staff has reviewed the work and recommend approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-478. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Resolution number 17-479, in the matter of approving a service agreement with Cornerstone On Demand for an online evaluation process and a learning management system for Delaware County.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Dawn Houston, Assistant County Administrator, and I also have Mindy Owens, our HR Manager, here with me. We are recommending your approval of this agreement with Cornerstone in order to bring about an online learning management system and also an online evaluation system. Our managers and supervisors have been asking for a more user-friendly evaluation tool, and this would certainly be that. This software has been approved by the Data Board and our County Prosecutor's Office with the agreement. The learning management system would also provide an ability for us to manage and track the staff training and allow us to basically tailor trainings that are specific to our policies and procedures, and then also ensure that we have compliance with our best practices training. So I'm recommending your approval, and if you have any questions, we would be happy to answer them for you.
Is this one system with both modules?
It's a system with both modules, and because we're working with both, they are providing us with a 15% discount.
Okay.
What is the
It's a
cost?
3-year agreement.
What is the cost?
The first year is $48,000, and the subsequent years are $18,000.
Is this for all employees under the administrator and all office holders employees?
We have the ability to add up to 425. So it is a little bit more than what we have under the Board of Commissioners. So if there are other departments that are interested, we could work with them through this process. But right now, it is just for mainly under the Board of Commissioners to get it off the ground.
Do the office holders have anything like this?
They do not, that I'm aware of.
Okay, I didn't think they did.
These are the kinds of things in the background we should all be doing the same, whether it's under the commissioners or elected officials, and I think the commissioners have kind of made that point a number of times, and so I would want to encourage you to reach out to them, and I would encourage them from this position here that they'd be supportive, because I think it's the more compatibility we have behind the scenes, and we're the same, it just makes us more efficient as a county.
I agree.
Yeah, and HR is such a challenging area that has all kinds of pitfalls and regulations and policies and so on that are complex and
That's ever-changing.
Ever-changing. And so to standardize it, streamline it, make it more efficient online, et cetera, are all worthy goals. So I applaud you for leading this, and hopefully we'll get some days in the not too distant future, we'll get all the county employees to use a system, use this system, hopefully. So,
No questions.
okay, take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-479. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Resolution number 17-480, in the matter of approving a transfer of funds and supplemental appropriation.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Cy Kelly, Assistant County Administrator. The transfer of funds is needed for the payment of this year's debt payments, and the supplementals for the reimbursement of ditch petition bond deposits, and I recommend your approval.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-480. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
That brings us to administrator reports.
And I think this is Fazan's way to get me to talk more in session. There's two things to report. Paramedic Jessica Carnes was recently promoted to lieutenant. She is a volunteer with Meals on Wheels. She was recently recognized by the governor with the Governor's Award for Volunteering. Second one, and she stepped out. Dawn Houston played a leadership role in the National Public Employer Labor Relations Association. She was recognized by the annual meeting organizers for facilitation at the conference.
You have anything you want to add?
Anything beyond that side?
No, but
Impromptu?
impromptu, awful weather Saturday and a golf outing. Hail, rain.
Did you get hail?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That made it interesting to putt.
Oh, yes.
That's all we have.
All right. Commissioner Merrill.
I have several things. First of all, Mr. Lamb and I had the privilege, the opportunity to speak to the Sunbury Chamber at their breakfast Friday morning, and following us was a recognition of some of the students, and it was a good event, and I think although we had to, what I call the Reader's Digest version, because we only had about 15 minutes, I thought it went very well and had a good result. The second thing, Saturday I attended Chief Wilson's fundraiser. Chief Wilson was there, and I thought it was well attended. I'm not good at estimating size of crowds, but I'm going to say 200 to 300 people were there, and hopefully successful as he. The purpose of it was to raise funds to offset some of the medical bills that weren't covered otherwise. And he was in a great mood, and it was a great morning. Number three, Morpsey will be having a tour of Union County and Delaware County on June 5th. And the last I heard, I believe the time they're supposed to arrive here in Ark County.
June 1st.
June 1st. Thank you.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And I'm going to get
ahead of my
I'm going to be
calendar.
on the bus, so I better have that right.
Yeah, you're going to show up 4 days late.
So I think right now the time to arrive here is 1:30. This is all subject to change, and things don't always stay on schedule. And my hope is that two of you can be there as well. And as we get a little more meat on the bone, so to speak, hopefully we can find a role for all of you, both of you in the program. It'll also be the executive committee meeting for Morpsey, so we'll see how that all plays out. And lastly, I know you all got the same email that I received. There is going to be a, and I don't have the date here in front of me, but voting machine review in Franklin County, and I think the 15th of May, I want to say, but I'm doing that from memory. And I've sent it on to Carla Herron because I didn't know if they got it or not. And she indicated that they will have someone participate. If my schedule permits, I may join as well. But because that's going to be a sizable expense for us down the road, and hopefully the state will pay their fair share. And that's all I have.
Okay, Commissioner Lewis.
Well, I went to the ribbon cutting for Unity House on Friday afternoon. It was at 6 p.m., and it was cold and rainy, and weather was terrible, but there were many happy people there because the house is just really nice. It was donated by the First Presbyterian Church, and it really will be a center both for hope and for healing. And there was a nice article in the Gazette about it recently, but one of the people who spoke had really gone through literally hell in getting to where she is today, and now she'll be helping others. She's a survivor and has turned her life around, and will be helping those who may need help. But one of the great things about the house is it will provide a respite place for women, and they can stay there about 6 months, and it will really enable women to get back on their feet after after they have been in jail and prison, and also it provides help for those who have, both male and female, who've been in prison, to connect them with the services that can help them, so they won't just be going home to the same situations that they may have encountered. They may not have a home, which is often the case too. So they will, the Unity House will provide them with the help they need to get them back on their feet and to a path to being a successful citizen, to help them and their families too. And I also saw Frazan about, it was 5:30 or so, he was headed towards walk a mile in her shoes. And so once he was going to look for some high heels, but Dawn informed me that there was a great big, I'd forgotten about this since I've never had to look for high heels, but I guess a great big box where you could get your own high heels when you're walking. So he and I went separate ways, and I haven't heard a report yet as to how his walk went. But he's here, so he did survive, which is good. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. We've got a DKMM meeting tomorrow at 1:30 here. This is just their regular board meeting, and we're going to discuss some important new alternatives in the recycling business there tomorrow. It's here in our room, session room. Meeting room. CCAO and SEBCO are putting on a healthcare trends webinar, I think is what it is the format, and that's on Wednesday, and that'll be very interesting because we all know healthcare is very important these days and very interesting topic. They're also on Wednesday at 1:30 or 2:30, I think it is. The state auditor is putting on a cybersecurity training session, and I'm going to be going to that. I've just got an interest in that, so. So anyway, that's Wednesday. I think that's up at the Willis facility. And that's all I have, and we do have need for executive session.
Resolution number 17-481, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment, compensation of a public employee or public official, and to consider the purchase of property for public purposes.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Vote.
Vote on motion 17-481. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We are in executive session.
Saw you played the game?